Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so we're going to do a crossover from narcissist abuse into dating and relationship coaching, or vice versa, so dating and relationship coaching into narcissist abuse. Now I'm going to bring up someone. He is a famous YouTube dating relationship coach. His name is Matthew Hussey, or I believe that's how you pronounce it. He's an Australian. In Australian or New Zealand, I believe he's Australian. So whenever I come across his videos, I like what he's saying. I don't want to say that I don't like. What he's missing is where it's coming from and what it is. So there's a message I've wanted to put on this channel for at least a year. And after watching this quick short with Matthew Hussey, it really stimulated this video. So in this video, he's talking about how women are not attracted to men who do not stimulate this fight or flight response, who don't, see them for 3 days and then just vanish for 5 days, causing that abandonment response. And he goes on to say, some of his clients, the women will say, when I meet with someone who doesn't make me chase them or earn their love or affection or attention, well, they just don't feel like there's any attraction or there's any love there. And he goes on to say, some women will say, when I don't meet someone who doesn't make me, who doesn't play games or cause them anxiety by abandoning them, after 3 days and being gone for 5 days, etc., etc. And he goes on to say that some of his female clients will say, when men I meet don't play these games with me, I don't feel like it's love. I don't feel like it's passion. I don't feel like it's exciting. I don't feel like this is the thing that I'm looking for that I think is love. So here's what he is, and the person who's interviewing him is completely 100%, absolutely, totally missing. Number one, he only does this for women, okay? This doesn't just happen to women. Why do you think I made this YouTube channel? Why do you think for 3 years, no, more than 3 years, I've been making narcissist abuse videos? Because it only happens to women? No, obviously I've been damaged quite intensely and severely for pretty much my entire life until recently due to narcissist abuse. So very much obviously this happens to both men and to women, and both men and women can be narcissists. Now, number one, the reason why this is spoken in these terms is because this is that dichotomy thinking, that either or, that dualistic, it's either men are bad or women are bad. So if women are good, then men can't be good. It's either or, Mike. So here's the real reason why, once again, another dating relationship coach and an interviewer and everyone else, it's like they're talking about something, not even knowing what the subject is that they're talking about. And a long time ago, I would say about a year ago, so when I first started talking about narcissist abuse, I just completely stopped talking about dating and relationships. And the funny thing about it is, it absolutely affects dating and relationships. In fact, most people think, oh, so was it your girlfriend? Well, no, actually, it was a client of mine. It was someone I knew for this amount of time. And they're like, really? Oh, a lot of people think, oh, it's only in, no, it can be in business. It can be in friendship. It can be in social. It could be anyone. So I decided to shift my channel over to narcissist abuse and just avoid the dating relationship stuff for a while because it has hurt so many people so bad. And about a year ago, I had thrown on this channel, I'm thinking about, talking about dating relationships again, etc. on this channel, and a couple women responded, and God bless you and thank you. That, yeah, if you could do that, then I'll listen to your other videos, but I'm not going to listen to those. So I knew it wasn't time yet. So once I saw this video, I was like, yeah, it's time to talk about this because once again, the devil tricked you. So here I am once again listening to Matthew Hussey, and he's talking about a subject and talking about all these things that women say, etc., but he doesn't know why he's talking about it. He doesn't understand where this is coming from, let alone what it is. So what he just described about, women feel, it's not just women, but it's men too. I know because it was me. I felt I had to have this almost panic attack going on. Otherwise it's not passion. Otherwise it's not love. Otherwise it's not excitement. Otherwise it's not whatever. And when these women say things like, what he was saying, that I, if I don't have to earn their love, well, then that's not love. If I don't have to, what's another one? Chase them, etc. And when you go through narcissist abuse and you completely pull out and you're like, I'm done, and you put up the Great Wall of China, you don't go on chat lines, you don't go on date lines, you don't talk to people in public, you go to work, you go home, you got the walls up, if somebody answers your question, it's a quick answer and you walk away. It's like what I call the Great Wall of China. So once you isolate yourself for a period of 2 or 3 or even 4 years, and it seems like you're not the one doing it, but it really is. It's just that you are so afraid and life seems so dark, like there's no good people out there. Well, let me tell you, there are good people out there. Absolutely 100%. I'm back out, I'm living my life, and the sun is shining again. So that isolation period was you reevaluating everything. One of them is you had to decide to be self-approving. That approval had to go back inside, not out to your friends, not out to a stranger, not out to your ex. You had to begin to decide what you thought was real, what you thought was good, what you thought was bad. And that's why I keep emphasizing, don't put it on me. You need to look things up. You need to decide for yourself. One of the other lessons was you were trying to figure out, well, how do I know between a narcissist and a good person? Because it is cloudy. Because they do this thing like love bombing, and it's exactly what you do when you are genuinely in love with someone. You buy them flowers, you take them out to dinner, you hug them, you kiss them, you love them, you sweet nothings, and you gain rapport, you match and mirror it. And so the narcissist watches people do this, and they repeat it, but it's a fake. It's fake love. It's an illusion. It's a mask. It's not real. The problem is, before you learn this stuff, before you watch YouTube videos, you say, hey, here's a red flag, here's a tactic that they use, like the advanced word salad video I made, and all the stuff they do from the mirroring, etc. You go, oh, so you start to figure it out faster. And take me, for example, I'm at a point now, oh, I see it. It's like I'm not even afraid of him anymore. Oh, there's one. Yeah, whatever. Bye. I just cut him out of your life. It's like a garden. You just pull out the weeds. Every 2 or 3 days, you go out there and pull out some, oh, there's someone in my life. Oh, bye. Cut them out. See you later. So here's my message, here's my purpose for making this video. All of us, we just thought everyone was horrible, and now remember the number one goal of the demon, and it really is the devil doing this through human bodies, is the number one goal isn't just to divide you from yourself or to divide you from one partner. The number one goal is to divide all of us in every category. The first thing the devil does, or the narcissist, they divide your left brain from your right brain, so you literally close off from yourself, which means you've disconnected from all of your intuition. And it puts you in the external brain, which means you look to others for, well, is that a good person? Are they a bad person? Can I trust them? That is the worst strategy in the world. And that is what got you caught up with the narcissist. And that's what will continue to keep you getting caught up with narcissists. And that's why they divide you from you. If they can separate you from your internal self, you're unplugged, you're disempowered, and now you're screwed. And now you rely on the enemy to hurt you some more. So here's what happened. One of the tactics that narcissists use is what we call trauma bonding. Now, if you re-listen to what Matthew was talking about, he was saying, hey, these are women who will tell me, like, yeah, if I don't have to chase them, if they don't disappear after 3 days and I'm stuck in anxiety and worry and abandonment, not understanding, are they coming back? It makes them chase them. He even said, they say, if I don't have to chase them or earn their love, or if they don't put me through this abandonment panic attack experience, then I don't think it's passion. I don't think it's love. I don't think it's the thing I'm looking for. So what happened is at a very young age, probably your parents did this to you, or at least one of your parents or one of your siblings, and then this led into and what happens is, okay, this is what narcissists are doing. They are literally, in their words, breeding humans and then training them to be objects, to be victims. Now, I don't like that word because we're not victims, but they train us to, like, oh, this is love, when it's not love at all. It's trauma bonding. I'll give you an example. So here's how it works, basically, essentially. And there's something called anchoring in NLP. It's has to do with Twitmeyer's discovery, but we've heard it's from Pavlov's dog, right? That's where in America, that's where we learned it from. This is what we call anchors, okay? So my mother would come in and just beat us bad, severely, and then we would just be traumatically crying. She'd just quietly walk out, close the door quietly, and she'd wait about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and she would walk in soon enough. Don't want to wait till you're over it, because then you can't make the anchor, you can't make that neurological connection. This is a neurological connection. And what she would do is she would come back in and then hug us, or one of us, depending on if she beat more than one of us. And she would hug us and she'd, oh, I love you, I love you. Boom, you just got trauma bonded. So that's what we call an anchor. When you're in an intense emotional state, you can do something such as hug someone, touch someone, say a certain word, say I love you, whatever, and that gets linked. Now, this can be done for very positive things such as love and happiness and joy. It can also be done for very negative emotions. So in hypnosis and NLP, we use these different type of anchors. They can be done through words, the 5 senses, see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. Now, we will do it for confidence. Now, a lot of it, we will do it just for unbelievable hysterical laughter. So now you can relink this negative memory, this negative emotion, to something that makes you feel empowered and absolutely happy. But guess what the devil does? Guess what narcissists do? Yep. They reverse it. They use it in the opposite way to hurt people, to harm people, to trauma bond people. Now, I've got a video I made years ago when I was going through the NLP hypnosis trainings. I'm going to bring that up, but I want to share one more story with you. So, trauma bonding essentially it is anchoring. So it's, if you took Pavlov and the dog, what they did with the dog was they made it really hungry, so they didn't feed it for like 2 days or I don't know how long, a certain amount of time. And then what they would do is they would open this door, whatever, so the dog could walk through. There's a little square at the bottom of the wall, and the dog would walk in. And then on the other side, there was another door, and they'd open that up, and they'd shove this really delicious food, like steak, whatever the dog really liked, and shove it out into the room. And then the dog would start to salivate, and the minute the dog starts to salivate and goes over to the food, so now it's really in a hyper, intense, emotional, delicious state, and they ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell, and the dog's eating it, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. And so what they did this, different textbooks will say 7 days or 12 times or 5 times, but they do it enough until this anchor gets linked. So here's our narcissist. One of the things narcissists will do is they will just talk about scary stuff. Like one time I was hanging out with someone I knew. We were over kind of near kind of a gang area, but it was down the walkway a ways. He goes, "Are you scared?" I'm like, "Of what? What are you like?" It was out of the blue, and because I'm an NLP trainer, I was like you just went from one conversation to fear, and I'm kind of like, "What's this guy doing?" And I realized now, at the time, I didn't know what a narcissist was, but this is one of the ways that they try to put you in fear states. And so I'm kind of looking like, afraid of what? Like, well, there's gangs up there, etc. And what he was doing, he would give me this he'd like tilt his head forward and kind of get a serious look on his face. So that tilt and that certain look becomes the anchor. Whereas with the dog, it was the bell. So what ended up happening is they would bring the dog in the room. He wasn't hungry. They fed him earlier that day, and he's just kind of hanging out, and then they'd ring the bell, and the dog would start to salivate. And even the dog got this look on his face like, why am I salivating? I'm not even hungry. So the bell became the anchor. It got linked up to this salivation, and it would stimulate the salivation merely by ringing the bell. Okay, so here's Robin Williams. He's a comedian. Comedians purposely set positive, what we call laugh anchors, because they want you to laugh. They're trying to bring happiness and joy into your world, okay? So one thing I want to kind of shift here on Robin Williams is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, narcissists attacked him his entire life because he was bringing happiness and joy and light into the world. So when you're happy, your body relaxes, your lungs expand, not the blood vessels, but the little holes the oxygen goes into the blood. They relax, and thus you get more oxygen, and thus it turns on your consciousness brain, your right brain and your left brain, and now you're aware of what's going on. So when you're in that state where the artery is wide open, you can see people doing stuff. So you start to see these games that these narcissists do, and they don't want you to see that. That's why they're trying to keep the entire world in a fear state, because fear state tightens up your body, tightens up your blood vessels, tightens up your lungs, and you don't get as much oxygen, so therefore you can't turn on your larger left and right brain. It keeps that artery narrow, and very little blood is allowed up there. It's kept down in your muscles. So this is what it means to be asleep, is when that artery is narrow, because when it's wide open, blood and glucose can go up into the larger human brain, and thus the right brain gets turned on, and now you have access to consciousness and awareness. Narcissists and the devil do not want you to see what's going on, because once you see it, you can stop it. And that's why I teach you those breathing techniques. That's what the emotional grounding course, the internal awareness course, is all about. It's opening up that artery. And this is Christ consciousness, or consciousness. See, a lot of words are thrown, like Matthew Hussey, he's throwing a lot of oh yeah, it sounds really smart, but how do you fix it? Oh, I don't really know. I never even thought of that. See, just by telling someone, oh, well, you're trauma bonded, and you think that this panic state or this chasing after people, well, don't do that. That doesn't fix the problem. But that's what you're getting out there. You're getting all this super fluff, surface level information, and here's what I will tell people: did it work? Did what work? I'm like, well, why did you go to that seminar? Why did you listen to that person on that YouTube webinar? Well, because I'm having these anxiety problems and issues, etc. I go, well, did it work? What do you mean work? And humans have been so conditioned, like, well, I'm going to pay money to go to this seminar, this webinar, buy this book, buy this home study course, and they never really thought like, well, why am I buying it? Well, aren't you buying it for some kind of result? No, I never really thought of that. So here's what I'm saying. You can absolutely change all this stuff. You can relink and re-anchor something extremely negative to something very peaceful, very positive, very empowering, very confidence building. And it's literally just boom, it gets triggered, and it feels very good. Alright, so here's the final story I wanted to share. So Another thing my mother did was I had bought a hamster and had it in a cage on top of my dresser, and I ran home from school because school was literally 1 block down and then right around the corner, maybe a block and a half. So I ran home and I made a sandwich and I ran upstairs to my room, and I'm, holding my hamster and stuff, and I'm so happy. And my mom came in, kind of gave me this, not an angry look or a mean look, but it was kind of an evil look. It was kind of like an evil grin. And I put the hamster away, and I remember just looking at her like what? And I knew it was bad. Okay. So I ran back to school, went to class, and then I came home 2 hours later, and my hamster was dead. And I mean completely dead. It was damn near cold dead. So I'm crying, and my mom comes in, and she kind of had the evil look, and then she goes and hugs me. And then, now mind you, we lived in Wisconsin and my dad lived in Hawaii, okay? And this was like the 5th or 6th year that we had lived that far apart. And she's hugging me, again, trauma bonding. I'm in emotional pain. She's connecting that to love. Emotional pain, connecting that to affection. Emotional pain. So this is an anchor. This is how they trauma bond, okay? And so then she starts to say, it's all your dad's fault. The reason why you're crying is because your dad beat you so much and your dad beat you all the time. And I go, what? She goes, Michael, the reason why you're so sad is because your dad beats you all the time. And I was like, no, he doesn't. I go, I'm crying because my hamster's dead. Dad never beats us. You do. Man, did that piss her off. Now, I was in 4th or 5th grade when I said this, and she looked at me and shoved me and she just walked out of the room. And that, my friends, is how they anchor trauma bonding into you. So now you are a new product that is being put out into the world or out onto the shelves of the grocery store for other narcissists to go, oh, here's a nice trauma bonded individual. And yes, they know you're trauma bonded. They can test it, they can see it, and they pay attention for it. And then once they realize, oh, you're very trauma bonded, this is a very delicious treat. Now here's the worst part. Believe it or not, but because you were anchored to trauma, meaning love to your emotions and to your body, you look for people who do this. Again, this isn't just women. This is both men and women. I know because I was the same way. I would meet someone who's just a wonderful person, beautiful, had their life together, and there's nothing there. I just didn't feel anything. So here's what they've also done. They've caused us to unconsciously, through a link and an anchor to this means love, whereas someone kind, beautiful, someone who has their life together, someone who treats you well, it doesn't trigger love. It doesn't trigger excitement. Here's the thing. It doesn't trigger panic and anxiety because we start to think, oh, because your anxiety got linked to love. So whenever you were freaking out because they beat the crap out of you, they'd come in and love you and hug you, and you're like, oh, okay, so this feeling leads to love. No, it doesn't. That's trauma. All I'm saying is what happens is unconsciously you start going towards these narcissists without realizing you're doing it. In fact, a lot of you, when you finally woke up to what narcissism was in narcissist abuse, you looked back on your entire life and go, oh my God, they've been in my entire life. I've been surrounded by them. No, you've been walking into their nests. Because it's what you knew. It's what you thought was love. It's what you thought was passion. It's what you thought was family. And the odd part about it was there were friends of yours that would just cry and scream and like get away from that person because they would see them traumatizing you, hurting you, damaging you, being mean to you. And you're like, no, you just don't understand. Or like, yeah, I don't understand why you would be with someone who's hurting you. So now what happens is once you finally wake up to narcissism, or even if you don't, you just at one point in your life at the age of 40, 45, 50, 55 years old just decide, yeah, I'm just done with men because all men are jerks. And guess what, ladies? Men do the same thing. We say all women are insane, they're nuts, they're psychos. The good news is you're both wrong. The reason why narcissists try to act like they're normal human beings and come in, as like the wolf in sheep's clothing, they're wearing sheep's clothing. So you assume and or believe, oh, well, these are just humans. These are black people. These are Asian. These are white people. These are men. These are women. These are whatever. And so what happens is you get damaged by these narcissists, not humans, not men, and not women. You get damaged by narcissists because they want to convince your nervous system. Here's the deal. They don't care about convincing you logically. They don't give a shit about that because they know if they can get into your unconscious mind and they can convince you that all men are bad. Because what happens is you're attracted to all these men that trauma bond, which are narcissists, and narcissists can see the signs like, there's a very well trained empath that's been very well trauma bonded, and they come after you. And on top of it, you were the one who was going into the devil's nest because you thought, well, this is home. I mean, this is the way my brothers and sisters treated me. They beat me up, they punched me, they kicked me, they stole my money, and then they reversed blame shamed and reverse blamed me and all that stuff. And you're like, yeah, this is just like home. Yeah. And my mom would hurt me and then hug me and say someone else hurt me and it's their fault. But now I'm trauma bonding to her comfort, her affection, and her love. And you're like, yeah, this is just like mom and my brothers and sisters. The good news is it's not all men, it's not all women, it's not all this race or that race. It's not race, it's not skin color. There is a them and there is an us. And when you finally see that, you're going to be like, holy shit, it's not all men, it's not all women, it's not all these people or those people. Suddenly you can start to socialize again, you can start to date, you can get into a relationship again now that you finally see that these are red flags. Oh, bad person. Now that you have boundaries, like, yeah, I don't let people try to manipulate me into smoking cigarettes or into doing drugs. The minute someone does that, you cut them out of your life. Got to pick that weed. Pick the weeds out of your garden. So all of a sudden you bump into someone, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's one of them. Hey, I got to go. Bye. You don't exchange numbers. You don't talk to them again. Next time they try to talk to you, hey, I got to go, man. Hey, I'm not sorry. Just not. You just close the door. So here's the deal. I know because I'm living it now. There is good news, phenomenally good news. There's a lot of good people out there. But now no, there's not, Mike. It's, and as I look back on my life, once I woke up to narcissism abuse, I realized I was surrounded. Well, yeah, because number one, you were going into the devil's den because you thought that was home. You would only date people that would trauma bond you. You would only date people that are mean to you because that was excitement, panic, and freaking anxiety to you, and that was connected to love. And so now that you're hearing all this, you go, wait a minute. So so you can reverse all this. The devil lied to you. Of course he wants you to be single. Of course he wants you to live home alone. Of course he wants you to isolate yourself for the rest of your life and never date again or socialize with the opposite sex or whatever. The devil's number one tool is divide and conquer. You should have watched enough YouTube videos online and learned if you haven't watched my advanced word salad video, watch it right now. Go in the bottom of this video, look to the left, look at my name, Mike Kollin, click on that. The very first video at the top that comes up, the very first one, don't scroll down, just a little tiny bit. That's that video. Watch it now, and that's another tactic you're going to see that narcissists have done to you. So the more you learn, the more you're... And here's the thing, you don't have to know every little thing. All of a sudden, you start to realize, like, no, I don't let people treat me in a bad way. And all of a sudden, you start walking away from these people, and you start associating with better people. Okay, if you haven't figured it out by now, I am a highly certified, trained NLP trainer, master hypnotherapist, master practitioner in timeline therapy, Reiki, Huna, pranic healing, energy healing, and on and on. I can get you out of this. We can reset your anchors. We can reset your trauma bonds. We can shift that to something that's more empowering, that gives you clarity and awareness. Alright, so I've got some videos here. I'm going to show you little clips of them where I anchor people to very positive states, okay? I don't know how many I'm going to show, but I'm going to take a clip here or there. Now these videos are from way back. We're talking more than 11 years when they had those little thin little camera things. So the video and audio quality is not that good. So I teach you how to go internal to the internal world and helps you relax. That has a lot to do with other stuff, so we're going to go right into it, some fun stuff. So here's some anchors. Now these are laugh anchors to help people to laugh and have a good time. You can do it at clubs. I do it all the time with people. And you can also use anchors for other things. And the way I teach it, it makes it really easy for you. So do you have anything to say?
No, carry on.
Yeah, we just want to do this real quick for you guys.
Yeah, just have some fun.
Something fun. So this is a dog clicker, dog trainer, you saw in the last video. I link this to people's emotions. And with Rob, I've done it with laughter. And we've also done a couple other things. Let's see what happens if I just do it right here in the video. This is an anchor that...
Stop it.
Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm spinning my hand again. I think this was my very first video I ever made. So I didn't have it on my hand, so I was holding my left hand open, my right hand closed together, and I was spinning it clockwise towards my left hand. And that was just a random anchor that I made up. And by the way, I had linked him up earlier to this, but I believe in this video I do show where I actually link him up to other things while we're doing this. Alright. Here's another one. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember. Anchor, anchor, anchor. Anchor, anchor, anchor. And what you can do is you can stack anchors. That's the dog clicker. Again, this is made for dog training. What happens when you look at it?
I hate it. It's funny.
Alright. So think of something real serious. Or not real serious, but something that's, different.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what happens when you think about that and look at this now?
No.
No, watch this. What was it you were thinking about?
I was just thinking about boring flight over here.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you were on the plane, what was boring about it?
I'll kind of, no, halfway through the flight, kind of 10 and a half hours flight, we've been delayed as well.
So let me ask you a question. I don't know if this is picking up. So what happens when you think about that boring flight now?
It wasn't bad.
Did it link up? So what I did... So what I did was I linked up one anchor to another, and once you set an anchor on someone, you can keep linking it to other stuff. Like I did it to that, and I did it to this to Rob. Now imagine you come in and do some work with me, and there's something that an anchor that a narcissist set, and I relink that to absolute total laughter. Now imagine a narcissist does something expecting you to feel bad, and all of a sudden you're just busting up laughing, and then he does it again and again, and you just laugh even more. And you're like, what's going on here? This isn't... And also like, wait, are they taking their power back? Yes, you are. Now you can also link this up to a facial feature, the nose, or like even when they give you that mean look that used to scare you, like you can literally anchor that to laughing your ass off. And what that will do, what's the word I want to use? It will completely devalue what they thought was powerful. And every time they kind of give you that tone of voice and that look and that creepy, what do they call it, the narcissist grin, and you burst out laughing, because now instead of it taking you down even deeper, it's lifting you up and you're laughing your ass off, and all of a sudden they're gonna feel weak. They're going to realize their tools are powerless, and they're going to literally feel powerless over you, and then eventually it's going to hurt them so much they're going to walk away. Okay, all joking aside. So what do you think about, I don't know, our president of the United States? Rob's from Great Britain, by the way. I think he loves America, but we'll find out.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about President Obama?
He's a good guy.
Do you like him? Does he make you laugh?
Yes.
Really? President Obama.
Yes.
So when you think about President Obama... Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so just a little demonstration. You can absolutely make these connections new. Just like Pavlov and the dog, you can reconnect it to whatever you want. So I think you're starting to get an idea of who I am and what I do. I'm not just some guy saying positive stuff, the sound, just be positive. No, I have a very long list, a series of tools to help you to shift unconsciously on a neurological level. So when I say on a neurological level, I mean it. So when people ask me what I do, it is really hard for them to fathom, to understand, because, well, I'm a personal development coach. That's essentially what I am. And they're, oh, okay, yeah, positive thinking dude. Like, no, this is not. This is way beyond that. Although I am a professionally trained life coach with 12 years of training under my belt, I don't tell people I'm a life coach because I started running into people like this one girl at a club was like, oh, my friend's a life coach. I'm like, oh, where did she train? And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, why does she think she's a life coach? Like, oh, well, she's a Catholic. I'm like, well, that's a nice religion, but that doesn't qualify you to be a life coach. So there's a lot of people out there saying I'm a life coach. They have no training at all. They didn't go to college to study psychology. They don't know cognitive behavioral, techniques and therapy. They don't anything. I met one guy who was a marriage and relationship coach, and when I met him at a seminar. It was like a one-day seminar. Peter Brahe, and he had told me this, and he handed me his professionally made business card. Look, I was very impressed. And I got to know him and stuff. Said, hey, you should meet this group and speak there, because I told him I'm an NLP trainer, et cetera, et cetera. And he knew what it was. I just assumed he must have been trained in something, went to college, got his master's degree. And eventually one day I asked him, where did you train? He goes, what do you mean train? I'm like, well, what makes you a relationship and marriage counselor or coach? He goes, oh, well, I read a book. I'm like, wait, what? You read a book? He literally read one book. And I go, so I assumed he must have been a psychologist before or something in the field. He goes, oh no. I go, well, what did you do professionally? He goes, I think the word's arborist. I go, what's that? And he goes, well, I cut down trees. Meaning he has zero training, zero skills, zero experience in the field, and yet the guy was charging $250 a session, and this was back in the 90s. And then there was the girl who's from my hometown. I didn't know. I met her at a club in the city, and she gave me her hypnotherapist and life coaching business card. I was like, wow, I'm trained in hypnosis too, and NLP, and I'm naming all this stuff off. She's like, what's an NLP? What's Ericksonian hypnosis? I'm thinking, like, well, where did you train? Oh, and she literally goes, I took a 2-day weekend course. I'm like, and what else? She goes, well, that's it. So the problem with using the phrase life coach is there's so many people out there that are saying they're a life coach and they have zero training at all. I mean, nothing. They don't even, they don't know what they're doing. So it kind of dilutes the field for people like me who've been training their whole life. I still train. I still go to trainings. I still study. I still read books, etc., etc. So here's what I want to recommend to the ladies. Read my book, Why Men Just Don't Get It, and then get my next book, Every Woman's Battle, The Need for Love and Emotional Fulfillment. So go to my website at mikekollin.com, MikeKollin.com, and in the upper part of the website you'll see the tabs, and click on the women, and the drop down you'll see books or ebooks. Yeah, I just clicked on my website. So on the top towards the left you'll see women's coaching. Click on that and there'll be a drop down, and then click on women's books and you'll see both of the books as you scroll down. Okay, I highly recommend those because you're going to see something in there, not something but a multiple series of things that are going to open your eyes and understand why men and women don't get it. It'll bring a ton of emotional release to you. All that hurt, etc. A lot of it was just misunderstanding, and a lot of this is set up by narcissists. That's not really written about narcissists. It's written how we communicate differently, how our mating systems are connected to two different parts of our brain. So when he tries to express his love, you don't think he cares at all, and he's like, I'm pouring my heart out to you, and you're like, you don't even care, and he's like, that's just ripping his soul out, and he's like, here's what it is. The way a man expresses his love is not the way a woman receives love. So I tell men, I go, the harder you try expressing your love in that way, she'll never receive it, and you're just going to get hurt more and more and more, and she's going to feel like you don't care, and you're like, but I do. So men, you can also buy those books. They're shorter versions, about 50 or 60 pages, the two of them, and it'll really it'll open your eyes. Now, the book for men really is Crack the Female Code. That is a 500-page book, and it will blow your mind. I guarantee it. Alright gang, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Go check out my website, MikeKollin.com. Hey, if you've enjoyed my videos, please click the subscribe button, click the bell, then click the like button, make a comment. And if you like, you can also make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box below the video. That's pretty much it. The best way to donate really is to buy one of my books or one of my book packages. Alright guys, God bless you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.